Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott's Selections here for Thursday, February 20th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up picking up a winner with the over 151, which was available in the Chattanooga and Citadel game, which was available at minus 108 on DraftKings. Pretty much a typical Citadel game. One half was somewhat low scoring, then the other half was an absolute explosion, and we ended up getting a nice win there. Fortunately, not in the middle of a winning streak, though, because of Davidson. Still haven't really lived that one down. But either or, we got a win, and we'll be looking for another play that a winner here on Thursday. However, since the All-Star break in the NBA is officially over, we will be going back to the NBA. And for the play of the day, I'm actually going to be violating one of the rules that I pride myself on in this channel, which is to only bet on good teams in the NBA. But we're going to go against that today, as I think there is some value on a current line, and it will be on a matchup between the Charlotte Hornets and the Chicago Bulls. And we like the Charlotte Hornets plus the 4.5, which is available on DraftKings at minus 109. So the main reasons why I like the Hornets in this spot, first of all, in the NBA post-All-Star break, there's three different types of teams. You have teams that are trying to win, you have teams that physically can't win because they're terrible, and then you have teams that are trying to lose on purpose. Now, some of the teams that are trying to lose on purpose aren't going to actively admit that they're trying to lose because of the fact that they'll get fined by the NBA, but you can simply just find out who these teams are based on looking at the lineups that they're projected to show out, and based on that, there's no way the Bulls are actually trying to win games. They've lost 6 straight. If you look at their lineup, it's absolutely abysmal. I know that Zach LaVine is still in the lineup. I know that he was a borderline all-star, and I get it. And Satoransky's okay, I'd say at best. Probably not a starting point guard, probably a backup. But you got Shaquille Harrison, Thaddeus Young, and Luke Cornett, and all the people that are injured are Chris Dunn, Markkanen, Carter, Hutchinson, Porter, and Valentine. So basically, you have a team filled with a bunch of role players and Zach LaVine just thrown into the starting lineup, and they're facing a Hornets team that is 18-36. Now, even though the Hornets are 18-36, this team is still trying. They have no injuries on the injury reports. They are 100% healthy, and they are using their full lineup. Plus, if you've looked at the performances over the last couple of games before the All-Star break, the Bulls have lost each of their last 6. Makes sense. This team doesn't really care about winning. Whereas the Hornets have actually won each of their last 2 games, both of them coming on the road. So they have actually put together a decent fight recently. They beat the Pistons 87-76. They held the team to 76 points. That shows a certain amount of hustle to me. And they were able to beat Minnesota on the road by 7 points in their last game. And overall, just a good win by the Hornets. They were down double digits at the half, and they ended up outscoring Minnesota by 23 in the second half. This team's trying. I got to give it to them. And in this type of situation where you have 2 bottom feeders playing against each other in a post-All-Star game setting, I got to try to put my faith in the team that I know is actively trying to win the game. And I personally just don't think the Bulls have any interest in actually getting victories this point forward. They're probably going to try to improve on their draft stock and try to get into the potentially into the top 10. But it's also worth mentioning that so far in the match, that was the first reason. The second reason was the injuries. The third reason is based on the fact that these two teams have actually played each other very close so far this season, as the Hornets are currently 2-1 against the Bulls this season. They won by 1 point. They won by 10 points. The last meeting they actually won 83-73, so once again they played solid defense and only gave up 73 points. And the second game in the middle, the Bulls won by 1 point, and that was the well-known shot from this season where the Bulls stole the inbound pass, LaVine hit a game-winning 3 with roughly no time left, and it was miraculous, so the Hornets probably should have won that game. But you're giving me a Hornets team that has won 2 in a row. It's actually been trying, versus a Bulls team that's pretty much punted the entire season. And the Hornets are 2-1 against the Bulls, and their only loss came by 1 point, and they're getting 4.5 here. I think the Hornets are probably going to win the game outright, to be honest. I think that there's some value on the money line there, but that also involves backing a 10-19 team on the road. Chicago's 11-16 at home, so they're not good at the United Center either. But overall, I think there's value here at the 4.5. So the play of the day, once again, for Thursday, February 20th, will be on the Charlotte Hornets plus 4.5, and that line is available at minus 109 on DraftKings. Now, looking at the rest of the betting card, I'll stick with the NBA for now. I'm going to give out Milwaukee minus the 13 against Detroit. I just mentioned teams that are tanking, and Detroit is a peak tanking team, especially after shipping Andre Drummond for basically peanuts. But either or, they got some really bad role players involved. Good for them, I guess. Their starting lineup, Rose is supposed to be back, which is somewhat of a deal, but anytime you ship off your best player when you're 19 games under, that pretty much tells me you're not exactly interested in winning games. You have Derrick Rose, you have Mikhailuk, who just shouldn't even be in, arguably on an NBA roster. He's just not that good. You got Tony Snell, who is, I'd say, average at best, slightly below average. You have Christian Wood. Wood's actually been decent so far in his young career. He's averaging roughly 11.2 points. He's got some athleticism. Then you got Thon Maker, who has been basically a bust ever since he joined the NBA. Meanwhile, Milwaukee's still fighting for the best record. They've dominated every team they've played. I think this game will turn ugly. Lean to the Bucks on that one. Other than that, looking at the rest of the card, I'm going to skip. Actually, I was thinking about skipping Miami, but I realized it's 6.5, and Atlanta is just absolutely brutal. I'll lean to Miami on that one. Atlanta, even though they're entertaining, and even though Trae Young is an entertaining player, I don't know how efficient he is because of the fact that he can't guard anybody. But either or, Atlanta's still going to be without Clint Capella. He hasn't played yet. They got Dedmon in the lineup now. But at the end of the day, I just think Miami's too talented. Lean to the Heat on that one. Other than that, and that's pretty much it for the NBA. I was leaning towards Houston, but I'm still not sure what to make of that team. Golden State's actually played Houston relatively close so far this season, and I think that Golden State could potentially sneak within the number. It really depends on if Harden makes his outside shots or if he just flops enough to get fouls. It really remains to be seen. I know Westbrook will play well because Westbrook just insists on dunking now and he stopped shooting three-pointers. So he finally decided to adapt. But overall, it's all going to come down to Harden when he pretty much ball hogs late in the fourth, and it depends on if he actually makes shots. But that remains to be seen. Now for the college basketball card, a lot of games, a couple of ranked teams playing. But looking at the actual matchup itself, what do I like here? I think there's value with Arizona State plus the 2 against Oregon. I've seen Oregon play. This team is just, there's something missing. I know Pritchard is really good, and I respect the fact that he's got a lot of talent. The big men on Oregon are some of the least talented offensive big men I've seen in college in a long time. They have absolutely no talent. They pretty much just chuck the ball at the rim every time. I think Arizona State's going to win the game. I think there's a reason why the line has dropped from 145 to 142.5. I'll lean to the under because I don't think Oregon's going to score. Oregon still defensively is very solid, and I think this game will turn into a rock fight. But overall, I'll lean to Arizona State, who has been very solid at home, and I will lean to the under in that game as well. Oregon, though, for the tournament, it wouldn't surprise me to see them lose in the first round. I know that they have some talent from the guard position. Their big men are just so bad that if Pritchard has one off game, this team is absolutely screwed. If you watch them play, I'd recommend tuning into the game if you can tonight, just to see what I'm talking about. This team just isn't good. There's some teams that are ranked, and they have been pretty solid all season long, but if you watch them play, you're just really unimpressed. Kind of sums up most of the college basketball, scope of this season, because there hasn't been really any dominant teams per se. A couple here and there, you have Baylor and San Diego State and Kansas and Gonzaga. But overall, most of the teams have just been very inconsistent. Oregon's one of those teams that I think will crash and burn in the tournament. And even though they won yesterday, I think Seton Hall is going to crash and burn in the tournament. I watched Seton Hall play and Oregon play, and I just see nothing. I don't know. At some point they were really good earlier in the season, but if you look at them right now, they just don't look impressive at all. I know Seton Hall rallied and they were able to beat Butler, but I just don't think highly of that team. I think that team's going to lose in either the 32 or the 64. But I'm expecting early exits for both those teams. Really not impressed. Other than that, though, looking at the rest of the card, I'm going to lean to Temple -1 against UConn. You've had a switching of the favorites here. UConn was originally -2, and now Temple is currently -1. Important to mention that one of Connecticut's best players, I don't want to butcher his name, but his last name is the same exact thing as his first name. I forgot. It's Akok, I believe that's what his name is. Yeah, he's a freshman forward. He's actually been pretty good. I know points-wise he's not averaging much, as he's averaging 5.8, but he is a very solid defender, and he does have the ability to potentially force and alter some shots, as he's averaging 2.6 blocks per game. He's out for the year, as he ended up completely destroying his leg in the team's last game. So with him out of the lineup, I expect UConn's defense to be an absolute mess. I'll I'll lean to Temple there. I think they should be able to get the job done at home. Even though they got blown out by Villanova, the game was actually close for a half. They were winning at the half, and then Villanova went absolute bonkers from the three-point line. I think Temple should win that game. UConn, I think, defensively will struggle without a Kaka in the lineup, and I will take Temple for that reason. Other than that, though, I think that's pretty much it for today's card. Just one more look through. Don't really see anything. I've been posting some stuff on my Twitter. If any of you are interested in some futures and stuff, if you want to find me, you can find me at Reichel Radio on Twitter. So it's REICHEL Radio at Twitter. But other than that, though, that's going to play today once again is going to be on the Charlotte Hornets plus 4.5. And that line is available on DraftKings at minus 109. That's going to be the installment of Scott Selections here for Thursday, February 20th. And good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.